This season, we saw the Detroit Pistons go on a 28-game losing streak, and they snapped it on December 30th with a game win against the Toronto Raptors. Now, we all know that the Pistons have been the laughingstock of the NBA for well over a decade, but who really is the next franchise to be as bad as them? Well, funny enough as it is, the team that they just beat, the Toronto Raptors, could be that team. Even after their blockbuster traction, no identity, and no culture in Toronto, they're heading down a path where they will most likely be rebuilding for a long time. And here's why. With the Raptors shipping away OG Anunoby to the Knicks, who is one of the most lethal 3D players in the league, and Toronto also giving up Precious Achiuwa and Malachi Flynn, they've received RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and a 2024 second-round pick, which, to be fair, most people think that the Raptors won this trade, but it's pretty even in my opinion. Toronto lost one of the most valuable assets to a team, an elite shooter with an elite perimeter defense, and gained two shot chunkers who are liabilities on the defensive end. RJ Barrett is returning home to Canada to play for his hometown team, but he really hasn't been all that impressive this season, or let alone his entire career. And for a third overall pick, you could expect some improvement, but he's kind of stayed the same. Emmanuel Quickley, on the other hand, was one of the best sixth men in the league. Now, he and RJ are both in the starting lineups for Toronto. IQ is having the best season of his career, averaging the most points and shooting the basketball the best in his career, but he is a smaller guard that is a true scorer, and personally, I'd like to see him more as a playmaker in the Raptors uniform rather than the Knicks. RJ and Quickley are below average defenders as well, so we'll see how it works out in Toronto. The Raptors also lost two role players in that trade, both who have played at least 15 minutes a game for the past 3 seasons for the Raptors. But does that make sense? No, of course not. Although OG did have an expiring contract they could have re-signed him years ago for, now they have to trade him close to the trade deadline on the final year of his contract. I mean, at least they had something for him, because they could easily have let him walk in free agency this offseason. Instead of that tactic, they're trying to build for the future, and I guess that works, but really, are they building for the future at all? They still got a $38 million contract with Pascal Siakam, who is about to turn 30 in April. Toronto's also paying $20 million a year to a 28-year-old Jakob Poeltl and a $13 million contract to the 30-year-old Dennis Schroeder. Now, they do have old veterans like Garrett Temple, Thaddeus Young, and Chris Boucher, as well as Otto Porter Jr. still sitting on that roster. And to be honest, the Raptors are wasting their money on these old veterans who are just, average NBA players at this point. They need to continue to blow this team up, and they only have until February the 8th to do so, which is the NBA trade deadline. For the past couple of seasons, there have been rumors of Toronto trading away OG and Pascal, now since OG is gone and Pascal is on the last year of his contract, which means the only viable option is to trade away Pascal. He's got $38 million to his name, but a contending team could easily trade for him. And the Raptors, well, they could just get young players and just new draft picks in return. Teams like the Mavs, Hawks, Grizzlies, and the Lakers are all teams that want to trade for Pascal because he could easily help them push for a playoff spot or even a contender for the title. A team like the Golden State Warriors are perfect suitors here, with Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, who are not happy with Steve Kerr and their playing time. This is an absolutely perfect opportunity to be able to get Pascal off the books and for the Raptors to keep building for the future. Currently, the only youth they have is Scotty Barnes and Grady Dick. Scotty, who is a former Rookie of the Year, had a disappointing sophomore season, but has picked up the slack for this year. This season, my man is averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists in a game, which is very good, and he is becoming a respectable shooter. Last season, he shot 28% from 3, and now is shooting 38%. That is an incredible progression, and if Pascal got traded, he would end up becoming even more in charge of the team. Grady Dick, on the flip side of the coin, has been one of the most underwhelming players in the league. Yeah, you heard me right. Players, not just rookies. After his great collegiate season at Kansas, he was drafted 13th to the Raptors over players like Jordan Hawks, Keaton George, and Jamie Jaquez. I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that every single one of these dudes have been way more valuable to their teams than Grady to the Raptors. Some people even considered Grady to be the best shooter in the rookie class, but I would really just go out here and say again on a limb that this is false, because in the last 19 games, he appeared to be shooting 25% from three. Gross. His field goal percentage is 29%, but he's perfect from the free throw line, so there's still potential, I guess. Toronto also has Grady Trent Jr. and Jalen McDaniels, who are players in the mid-20s with some upside, but they are long-term for the Raptors, and really, I highly doubt it. In his first year as head coach, Darko Rajakovic currently has the Raptors with the 7th worst record in the league, so you think they would have a lottery pick in the 24 draft, but no. Their 24 first-round draft pick went to the San Antonio Spurs during the Jakob Poeltl trade last year. This is the worst-case scenario for the supposedly building the future Raptors team. Now, they do have a second-round pick from Detroit, which involves the OG trade. They also have their first-round pick for the next 5 years after this draft, but it's just crazy to see the Raptors start to break down their current roster to build for the future, but they don't even have a first-round pick this year. Toronto's going to miss out on a lot of talent in the draft class. And this is what I mean when I say they're going in no direction fast. There's no culture, no stability in the roster, no nothing. I'm legitimately scared for the future of this organization and for them just representing Canada as well. As always, thanks for watching the video and check out our latest videos to improve your basketball knowledge.